Got 20 seconds. Come on, man, to go.
Keep moving. Good. Get those knees up. Explode. Good. Explode. Let's go. Up.
Drive forward. Let's go. One more. Go.
You are listening to the Fight Strength Podcast with your hosts, Phil Daru and Jason Burgos.
Hello, MMA true believers, and thank you for tuning in to the newest edition of the Fight Strength Podcast. If you weren't here with us last time, and seriously, shame on you for not even listening. I don't know what the heck's your problem, but if you weren't here, Fight Strength is a weekly podcast bringing you an expertise in the science of strength and conditioning for combat athletes. I am Jason Burgos, but I am not the expert in the science of fitness. That expert is my co-host, trainer to many MMA stars and American Top Team, and the James Brown of strength and conditioning, Phil Daru. Phil, what's going on, man?
Okay, first of all, I want to kind of commend you again on that one. The James Brown right now?
Yeah.
The James Brown, huh?
Yeah.
I like it, though.
He's the hardest working man in show business.
I am the hardest working man in this business, so I'm gonna say thank you very much, and I appreciate the support.
I think we should get, if we can do, those funny drops, and we could do, the James Brown, ow! Something like that every time. With
I'm down for it.
Right before the question, huh? Okay,
there's a close resemblance, too, by the way, let me tell you.
Yeah, obviously, the hair, totally, same thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So on this evening's recording, we will have the great opportunity of speaking with one of the fastest rising lightweights in the UFC, the very talented Marc Bone Crusher Diakiese. Did I say it right, Phil? Diakiese?
Yeah. And make sure you say it right because he hates it when you say it wrong.
Yeah.
So just to let you know.
I'm just glad I'm in New York and I'm very far away, so he couldn't whip my ass. So thank God for that.
Somehow, some way, there might be a fight back in Madison Square Garden, and we might have to make that happen.
Oh, God. All right,
he's good.
But first, before we bring on Bone Crusher, our first segment will always be about listeners giving some questions for Phil and take a chance to ask some questions regarding strength and conditioning. Now, the first question is from Dylan Manis. I hope I said that right? He asks, what is the best way to build explosiveness without all the equipment of a super nice, as he puts it, facility?
Okay, so when it comes to building explosive, and I'm guessing he means explosive power, let's take a step back and look at the true physics behind the makeup of power. So power equals force times velocity. So in order to create high amounts of power, the systems must be in place to initiate the stimulus response. So with that being said, most of you may not have the access to high-tech facility or have a gym near you with these things to achieve this. So it's really not that perplexed. You don't have to make sure that you have all these things in order in place. Really, the best ways to do it is taking it back to your bare bones basics, utilizing the space around you. So basically, let's look at just also investing in a weight vest that's 10 to 20 pounds, or some ankle weights that's 2.5 to 10 pounds. It's a little bit of a cost, but it's not going to break the bank, and it's worth the money by far. So let's go ahead now and let's get into how we build explosive power. So with just yourself and those tools that I mentioned, for lower body explosive power, nothing beats jumping or plyometrics. Now, plyometrics is first brought to us by Yuri Vereshensky, who was one of the pioneers of strength and conditioning. And he's a very successful track and field coach in the early Soviet Union. He also wrote Super Training. That's the book that I recommend for any young strength coach. But he brought plyometrics basically to America with what he called shock training, which basically meant the ability to absorb force and redirect it as fast as possible. So with a pair of steps or a sturdy table or a box, you want to jump, get your jumps in, initiate the lower body explosive power through that. You can add load by simply throwing on a weight vest or ankle weights to incorporate more force output. And I would do around 5 sets of those on each jump. Now for the upper body, you want to utilize explosive push-ups and chin-ups. Simply just find a park with monkey bars or go at it and explode up from the initial pull. Let your hands come completely off the bar and then catch it and repeat. For push-ups, explode off the ground while your hands come up, and then you want to then catch yourself, creating that shock absorption. That will only help you with the power, but it also initiate an eccentric strength proponent. So it actually gets two sides of that. Now, like the jumps, you can also add the load of the weight vest, and for the chin-ups, you can add those ankle weights as well. So, I mean, there really is no limit when you want to just create explosive power. Throwing things, jumping, it's all relative. You don't really need a whole lot to be explosive.
Well, I have two questions. One, the first one on the push-ups. Like, let's say a person is not strong enough yet. How would you work up to eventually getting to be able to do those push-ups where you can kind of explode off the floor? Just doing a lot of push-ups and working there, or is there like shortcut techniques that can kind of get the same kind of thing?
So there's always regressions and progressions to everything. So I would also do you can regress to like a wall push-up where you can explode off the wall in a push-up manner, or even go to like a chair or a bench and explode off there. And then you can work your way down to the floor. Also, just, you can go ahead and, like I said, it's not crazy amount of money. Go to Walmart, get you a medicine ball and throw it across your yard a couple times. It's not it's not going to break the bank, and it's definitely going to give you more explosive power. I do this with all my fighters. I primarily like this more than Olympic lifts due to the high demand of efficiency, technical efficiency, I should say, that the Olympic lifts actually, make that happen. So you want to make sure that we're getting the best, bang for our buck, and we're getting, making sure that we're safe, but it's effective. So I like to do those med ball throws and the jumps to take the place of those Olympic lifts. And I think that works way better for our circumstances.
And for the lower body explosiveness, is there like a kind of like height you want to when you're doing it? Because you see the videos of all these amazing athletes, they're doing really high jumps, they're doing shorter jumps. Does height matter? And also, is amount of reps a particular importance in that kind of stuff?
Yeah, reps are a big thing. A lot of people do too many reps. I think that, and they don't get enough rest in between those reps or sets. You want to get adequate rest so you can get the most out of the jump. Now, remember, you want to have maximum output in those jumps. So you have to have, adequate amount of rest so you can do 100% in that jump. Now, as far as like high boxes, I don't really feel the need to go super high on a box, because at that point, it's not really how much you jump at that point. It's how, how much you can get your knees to your chest or how mobile your hips are, so I don't really care too much about high box jumps, just for the simple fact that it just becomes, how much you can get your knees up to your forehead, and that's not really showing me explosive lower body power. It's really just showing me your mobility. That's it.
So when you tell your athletes jump, they don't say how high.
Well, they're gonna say how high, but listen. I'll give them a 30-inch box and tell them to jump like it's a 60-inch box and land light on it. Now that will really show me. Now if they land just the same way that they jump off of, so if they're in the same position as when they jump to when they land, I know that they're in a good position. But if their butt sinks down, and they're burying their head in their ass, then that's really not showing me that they have explosive power. Like I said, they're just getting their knees up as high as they can.
I see. Well, now, moving on to the next question from Justin Likes on Twitter. He asks, what is the best way to build up knee strength and stability? I've had multiple knee surgeries and recently microfracture, and I'm trying to get it strong, and I'm curious about this too, because my knees, as I get older, suck, so I definitely want to know how to make the whole area and everything stronger myself.
Sure. So first and foremost, we'd have to find out the severity of the injury and how long ago did it actually happen. From a full recovery standpoint, always get with a DPT or a doctor of physical therapy or a chiropractor, somebody who's very knowledgeable in these circumstances, after surgery or after the initial injury itself. They'll be able to treat you with some means of soft tissue work, laser, electrostimulation, then prescribe you with corrective exercises to help strengthen up the joints and the surrounding muscle tissue. So, that's definitely what you want to do to start. Once that's done, always start with lower impact exercises, focusing primarily on joint integrity or something like a TKE or a terminal knee extension or unilateral iso holds. It'll basically, it'll put your body in a great response to withstand load. You want to gain stiffness back in that joint. Remember to always work off a joint by joint approach. Remember, you want your ankles need to be really mobile, while your knees need to have some stability. So we want to make sure that we're getting those knees, or at least the one that's been injured, ready and stiff enough to where it can withstand load. Now, with these TKEs, you want to do about 3 to 4 sets, 10 to 15 repetitions. And for the static holds, you want to do around 10 to 20 second holds, and you could do the same set range as 3 to 4 sets. Now, after that, you can move on to some lower body lower impact strengthening, like some heavy sled walks or prowler pushes for distance around 100 yards for like sets of 5 to 10. Once things are feeling more stable, you can go into some unilateral work. So that could be something like a split squat or a single leg RDL, etc. Those can be done the same rep range, around 3 to 4 sets for like 10 to 20 repetitions. After that, I would say once you're feeling really strong, being able to stand on that knee for about 30 seconds without wobbling, and you can transfer transfer your weight a little bit better. Then you can go into some eccentric strength training or some plyometrics, like we talked about in the first question. Right. We can, do some. You can start with some death drops or some drops from a box to help with that eccentric loading. Each week you wanna increase, the height of the drop. As like I said, you want to do this around two times a week to 3 times a week, depending on how strong that knee's, developing. Then once that's mastered, then you can go into some like some high interval depth jumps or some reactive jumps from a higher box, and you could do sets of like 3 to 5 repetitions, or 3 to 5 sets with about 10 to 12 jumps per training session. And like I said, you could do 2 to 3 times per week, depending on how your knee's responding with that.
Now, could you tell me when, the knee, where does a lot of the shock absorption go in the knee? Is it heavily on the ligaments? When you build up strength and the muscles around it, do they help in absorbing shock? When people jog and all kinds of exercises?
Yeah. So when you do these high impact movements, the main causation of the impact is to strengthen up the joints surrounding that muscle tissue, or that bone tissue. And you want to make sure that we're getting stronger in those surrounding tissue areas, like the quadriceps, the hamstrings, things like that, gastrocnemius, the soleus, all to, basically stiffen and stabilize that knee capsule so you're not shifting and causing any more harm.
Right. All right, that is it for our Q&A segment with Phil. With us now is a man you are only going to keep hearing about more and more in the years to come. He had the MMA world talking when he laid waste to Teemu Packalén in 30 seconds at UFC Fight Night 107. He is 12-0 and not just one of the fastest rising lightweights out of the UK, but in the entire world. And he plans to add to his hit list on July 7th at the Ultimate Fighter Redemption finale against Drakkar Klose. He's the Bone Crusher, Marc Diakiese. Did I say it right? Diakiese.
Diakiese, that's right. Yeah.
Ah, yes.
Listen, so I told him at the beginning of the show, if you got his name wrong, you were gonna come to New York where he's at, and you was gonna handle him.
That's why I'm shaking right now. I'm very scared.
So listen, Mark, man. So I just want to ask you a few questions. Me and you, we basically see each other on a daily basis. But I want to let the fans know, and I want to give you a chance to actually, state your claim. Now, how do you feel you stack up with the rest of the lightweight division, and what's your plans for the rest of this year?
At the moment, obviously, I've been doing great. I've gone 3-0 in the UFC, and I feel like at the moment I've not really established my name properly, because people keep saying I've not really fought anybody, and that's quite frustrating to me, because I know I'm capable of. I know you see how much work I put in as well, so I think it's just a matter of time, getting these big fights and start moving forward and start getting the right fights. But at the moment I think I'm in the right path. You gotta work towards them fights anyway, so I think I'm in the right path at the moment.
Okay, that's for sure. Now, I know you had some knockouts, obviously, and you're looking good. I just seen the Twitter, so I'm going to share that because you're looking kind of solid, and I'm happy about that. But as far as the dance moves, bro, okay, what's the next one going to be after this next win? Give me something.
I actually don't know because myself, I don't even know what I do. It comes a moment in time. So when I win and when it happens, whatever happens. I don't know what I'm going to do myself. Even in a fight.
Remember I told you got to stick the backflip. If you stick the landing on the backflip, you're good to go.
It's a bit risky, that one, sometimes, isn't it? Depends how long you've been fighting for. If you do 10 minutes and you're going to do backflip as well, you might get dizzy halfway through.
You're right.
Backflip. So it just depends.
All right, now, your story is a fascinating one. It can be viewed as inspirational, honestly. Things like growing up in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, your uncle pushed you to move to England, the bullying you had to deal with in school. In your interview for The Sun, you mentioned people don't really get what you've been through. And I wanted to know if you can speak on some of the more difficult situations you had to deal with growing up in the Congo, because so many people, I think especially here in the U.S., don't truly understand how difficult life is in other parts of the world.
Well, it was hard back then, growing up is like, I think kids have got it easy and they don't seem to use it right. Back then, I had like nothing, and then I think my mom, she was with another guy, and I was always on my own, like just do the family members. And sometimes I wouldn't even have something to eat or anything. So I was just basically on my own. I feel like I was sort of bringing myself up. And there's days that I sleep hungry, not food, and it was just a lot of stuff which I don't really like speaking about, if I'm honest, but because I feel like that's the past and this is the new me. But life has been difficult, and I feel it's made me who I am today. So it makes me want to drive and get what I deserve, the work that I put in, with what I've been through.
I thank you for giving some stuff. ATT is such a massive camp. It's got so many fighters, especially international fighters. And is it important to you, and does it help a lot to know that there's other people in the gym you're working with or friends with that understand the struggle of having to, go and train in another country, away from your home, away from your family? I mean, could you even imagine yourself if there weren't camps like ATT having ever left England to train?
No. ATT is a great camp. I think for me, it's like it's a blessing to just Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, you talking. So it's a blessing because I feel like in England we don't have something like this. So for people that have got it here, they should be very appreciative of it. Because if I had something like this in England, I think the level where I'm at now, I'll be a lot better than I am. Because I'm mixing up with against the best, and it's bringing the best out in me. So it's a unique gym.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, mixing it up, like I said, with the best that we have in the world coming to this gym, that iron sharpens iron. And I've seen this kid actually, we're going on our second camp right now, and I honestly feel like he is a big star on the rise. So I'm very excited to be working with him. Now, Mark, man, I got to know, who was your biggest influences growing up and why?
If I'm honest, before I didn't really watch much fights, but I came into MMA across, I was watching it when John Jones was coming up. It was classed as his prospect, and just start beating guys. And I was very athletic back then as well. And it was just doing some crazy stuff. And I was like, Jesus Christ, I can do them things. So I sort of got into it just watching him, and I started watching Anderson Silva. Them guys, I thought, I want to do that as well.
Yeah.
And obviously, as a young lad, I kept getting in trouble. And for some reason, I wanted to just keep fit. Mm. And I ended up getting to MMA. And then that was it. So I wanted to be next big John Jones, Anderson Silva. And so now I'm just making my own name and moving forward. But there was big influences just because they were good fighters.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I see a lot of simulation and a lot of very similar things with you and a lot of other bigger name fighters, like I said, and sky's the limit for you, bro. We just got to make sure that we keep you focused and keep you grinding, which you already have been doing. So, it's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, thank you.
What's fun about our show is we like to ask questions that are a little different away from the MMA, from the sport and everything. Now, one of the things I want to ask is something I've been personally interested in. It's in the realm of politics and from the UK is the whole Brexit story. Now, I'm curious because I don't have a lot of English friends or talk to a lot of English people. Did you happen to vote in the referendum when it came up? And, do you have any opinion on that? Because I know it's a big deal out there.
No, man. To be honest, how I view the world is completely different to how other people see it. To me, it's like, them things don't really bother me because I just think, we all should share, we all should be together, you know what I mean? So I just feel like I just want to live and be happy instead of thinking about leave them guys, be separate. So I see it in my own view. I just think I don't see why we should split up guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We should all be together. That's my view.
So you got to live in the U.S. for training and during fights. I'm curious, what things in the U.S. would you say are better or more interesting, more fun, or than the UK, and vice versa? What do the UK have that's way better than the U.S. has that sucks? I'm just curious how the difference is.
Son, that's the first thing. Bigger roads, bigger cars, everything. Everything's big. So, cheaper fuel, stuff like a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have
we use liters? So
have you had to drive here in the U.S. and have to switch the driving on a different side of the road?
No, I've not driven here yet, but I drove in Sweden because I was in Sweden before. I drove quite there. It's right-handed, so it's pretty. Is it left or right? Left, right. That's it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty similar, but.
And you also mentioned that things are bigger here, so I'm guessing that's got to be a pain in the ass in terms of diet because everything's bigger meals in the U.S. So
I can't even get to there because food is too good. I'm when I see obesity people on TV, you're like, why are they like that? Can we just stop? I understand now. When I come here, I understand. I know why they get like that because you can't stop. It's that good. Yeah. So yeah.
Now, the final question we have is also a listener question now from Justin Likes on Twitter. He asks, what specifically can you say has improved dramatically since working with Phil Daru at ATT? And both you can answer this.
To me, I think you can tell from my last fight. And I think I've gone a lot. I've always been explosive, but I just feel like I've gone a lot faster. And then my movement, because I've been doing a lot of lateral movements, I feel sprints that we're doing, short distance and stuff. I just feel I'm a lot better than I was. I'm moving better, and my sharpness, when I'm punching, I notice the speed is there. So yeah, it seems to be all round stuff. I'm actually happy about.
Yeah, I mean, the thing we've actually focused on with Marc is that he's already an outstanding athlete. You could see that in his fights. I think the main thing or the main concern would be just to make sure that he's being able to move efficiently with the speed or with the power that he has and being able to transfer energy a little bit more optimally. Now, I think that if we can fix a little bit of dysfunction from just a movement base, because he does have I'm guessing a Taekwondo background, right, Marc?
No, I've been learning about a month ago.
Okay. Well, listen, man. You would think that you have it, but like I said,
I've only just changed my style. I feel like before I used to have this one, I was coming up and I stopped for a little bit, and I restricted myself. Now I've come back to it, so I feel I'm quite sort of freed. I can do what I want.
Yeah, I mean, his style is very elusive, so he's in and out a lot. There's a lot of lateral movement, and making sure that he's being able to get in and out and utilize his strengths is what, the big focus is. But I feel like, each camp we just get better and better. He makes it easy for me to, get him ready, because he is just an outstanding athlete, but it's a pleasure to have him. I remember the first time I think it was our last camp, the last training session of the last camp. Mark went like, I think he got mad because he asked me a question, and I swear to you, this question was like the most analytical question I've ever gotten. And I didn't even know how to answer it at that point. I was kind of just like, I don't even remember what it was, but it was something that I had to like make like a full on, like, you know, it was rocket science. You know, it was astrophysics at that point, and I didn't know what the hell. So I'm like, he was pissed, man. I was like, listen, bro, it's all good. Don't worry about it. But he's an outstanding individual, man, and I give him props for just every day he comes in the gym ready to work. So there's really nothing that he does. There's really nothing that he does that is like, you know, some of my guys, I'm like, oh man, we got to fix that. But there's not a lot of things for him, you know. But I do know one thing: he is very analytical in his approach and what he thinks, and you have to make sure that you're 100% on your game as a coach to make sure that he's ready to go, because he'll call you out on it, which is good. It makes me step up as a preparation coach or a specialist, and you know, so I mean, it goes hand in hand.
I have one more question because we're going through these questions real quick. Mark, if there was one person in the world that you can just put a ass whooping on, dead or alive, and it doesn't have to be a fighter, who would it be?
Somebody should know. Yeah, if anything, I'd like to give McGregor a go. But yeah. I don't like mentioning his name yet because I just feel, you know, they'll bring me down. I just want to build myself up there and then, you know, get him, because I think he's getting these things that he doesn't deserve yet, because I think, you know, I'm a lot better than that. Yeah. I'm elusive, so yeah.
Well, I mean, is there any other grievances you'd like to air, like, you know, on the division, you know, anybody else, you know, you may like to think a good matchup would be with, you know, any
matchup? Like people like Michael Johnson like to stand up and come forward. There's plenty, so I like that type of stuff, and I think fights like that will make me stand out, because, you know, stand up, and that's what I like to do. So yeah, guys like that, that'll be good for me. Eddie Alvarez, they all like to stand up, so yeah, I'll enjoy that.
All right, well, that's all our questions. I mean, Mark, is there anything you'd like to promote or plug in terms of social media, and, you know, any kind of projects, you know, for anybody that's listening, so they can follow you if they're not already and just need to know?
I've got obviously Bone Crush merchandise, my obviously fight line I'm using. It's gonna come out like end of this month before the fight, and obviously social media is Marc _Diakiese, and that's all on the rest. Facebook, Twitter, all same.
Instagram, same.
Instagram, yeah, all same.
I got you, bro.
And Phil, same for you. You know, you got a ton of social media, you know. Also, I mean, in terms of anybody listening, when Phil gives his analysis on the Q&As earlier, he has tons of videos you can also watch on his Instagram or his YouTube channel that, you know, give you great examples with these great fighters on, you know, other ways to do your exercises and be a better athlete. But let them know some of your other social media stuff, Phil.
I mean, I have my Twitter, same thing, Daru Strong. My YouTube, you can find it at Phil Daru. I wish I could put it back to Daru Strong, but I made it like 10 years ago. So I mean, it's kind of hard. I don't want to go back in there and do that. You know, Facebook, you can find me there. Phil Bam Bam Daru was my fight name, so I kind of kept it. And people just like calling me Bam Bam for some reason at some points.
It's no bad.
And like I said, man, I'm always pretty much highly on Instagram. You can DM me anytime, ask me any questions. Snapchat, I'm real big, Daru Strong 1. I think Mark has a Snapchat. It's Bone Crusher. What is it, Bone Crusher?
Oh, it is, yeah. No, Bone Crusher 482.
Yep, and you know, you see, and you'll see, like, if you're a fan of Mark's, and you know you're somewhat a guy that wants to follow me or a girl that wants to follow me. I have, you know, constantly daily videos of me training these guys. I just put up a video of me training Mark. You know, we just started with Will Brooks. You know, we got a couple guys, you know, coming up and fighting pretty soon. So, you know, on a constant daily basis, I'm putting out as much content for you guys as possible.
All right, also, if you haven't followed yet, you got the Fight Strength Podcast Facebook page. Look us up there. We got the Twitter account. Follow us at FightStrength_. That is it for the show. Thank you so much, Mark and Phil. I mean, it's a great show as always. Say bye-bye, guys.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, see you next time, everybody.